Oh, something new. Hi everyone, and welcome to Agile Expertise, the place where you come to learn and we come to share. And we always end up looking for the best people on the Agile circuit, and we always find the best people on the Agile circuit. And today we have got some awesome people, Roy Marriott and Chris Thomas. So before we get started, I just want to quickly share some detail about our sponsors. Try and share screen again. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So our Agile Expertise is sponsored by Expertise Recruitment, hence where the name came from. And it is also sponsored by Giles Lindsay, who has formed a company called Agile Delta, and myself, Sital Thacker, and I run a consultancy called Agile World. And Agile World is basically a consulting company that specializes in digital transformation, agile coaching, and agile consulting. Expertise Recruitment are experts in digital IT recruitment. They focus on permanent hires, contract and interim hiring, retained search, and they also have this new super dudes area now about where they focus on actual deep expertise associates. Not only that, they're also experts in IL-35. So if anyone ever needs any advice on that area, there's a lot of collateral and content on their meetups and also on their website. And also you can also contact them directly. And finally, Agile Delta is also an agile consultancy. So there's two of us. He specializes See, put my teeth back in. Giles deals with leadership coaching, meeting facilitation, and agile coaching. And the way to get in touch is to call us on, this is our telephone number. You could screenshot it if you like. This is our email address, getvalue@agileworld.com. You can visit us on our website, www.agileworld.co.uk, or you can even reach me on my mobile, and I'll be happy to put you in the right direction. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Roy Marriott. Roy Marriott actually is a coaching trainer. So he introduces coaches, he's coaching the coaches. He also delivers ICF certified training and leadership coaching. And Chris Thomas, who we met today, has recently been, he was a student of Roy Marriott, and now they've been working together. And I'm going to pass it over to Chris because I've not really got that much of background, apart from the fact that he's worked for Dyson, and when he was working for Dyson, he wasn't allowed to talk about working for Dyson, but now that he doesn't work for Dyson, he can now talk about working for Dyson, which is really great. But just for your information, this is a live interactive workshop, and so you are encouraged to put your cameras on, over, off, and I hope that you'll put your cameras on and take part. There will be breakout rooms, and there will be lots of engagement and all the good stuff that goes with voice workshops. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you straight over to Chris and Roy to introduce themselves and get on with the show.
Keep going, Chris. Here's your slide.
Thanks, Roy. Yeah, so as you heard, so I focus more on the agile coaching side of things, so more the agile bit of the coaching side. You can see a little bit of my resume on there. So previously working as an internal Scrum Master and coach in Dyson, working across multiple departments, helping them with individual teams all the way up through the ranks through a safe system. Sorry if that's a bad word for some people. Promise it was a bit more agile than you might think. And yes, so as well as membership organizations, as you can see on there, and a few bigger names. So I go very much on the depth, very much in the agile frame of things. So I think Roy and I make quite a nice pair covering different kind of experiences. Currently working for Vistair, which I should probably mention. But yeah, carry on, Roy.
Good stuff. Okay, thank you. So I'm more interested in telling you about what we're doing than who I am. So thank you, Sital. I think that introduction for me was plenty. So what we're doing today, what we're doing in this workshop is, first of all, so, I mean, actually, we missed the title slide at the beginning. We're communicating, we're looking at how we can communicate an agile mindset through coaching. So when you're doing coaching, when you're doing agile coaching, how can you actually be communicating the mindset? It's easy enough to say, do sprints or do have retros or whatever, but how do you communicate the mindset? So how we'll do that is, first of all, well, what the hell is the mindset anyway? So let's look at the manifesto. And what we'll be doing, we'll be going onto a mural board, and in small groups, we'll be grouping the different values and principles and anything else you like from the manifesto into these three categories: people, delivery, and improvement. So having looked at the manifesto, then we're going to look at a solution focus retro, because solutions focus is the style of coaching that, I mean, that's my main thing, and it's something I've introduced Chris to. It's only in that sense that he's been a student of mine. I think Chantal slightly overplayed that relationship. He's also been supporting me in training this. So, we've worked together on this. And there's an example that Chris is going to give of a retro that's using this approach. And then we'll be asking you about, so what mindset did that retro carry? How did that retro help to carry the agile mindset or not? It's for you to discuss there. And then we'll be asking you, what do you want to ask us? What other questions have you got? We've got a shed load of slides. So, there's always more we can say, but I think we'd really like to do that driven by your questions rather than just sort of us rabbiting on. That's the overview. Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that covers it really nicely.
Cool, thank you. And if anyone's got any questions at any time, please just shout out. I do generally have a preference for interacting with people. So as Chantal was saying, I absolutely love to have webcams on so I can see you, so I can see, I'm a bit insecure, and I like to know, whether people are liking what I'm saying. So Rax, have I got your name right? Rax is smiling. That's like, yeah, okay, that means I'm good. I can carry on that way. Chantal, I don't know if you're noticing we've got people in the waiting room arriving. I've got this sort of neurotic habit of just clicking admit, but it's probably more your job, isn't it? You can also communicate like this with me. This works quite well if you want to hold that post-it. This is my favorite post-it to see, but there you go. Interact as you like. Let's carry on with the presentation. So how can we coach in a way that carries an agile mindset? Well, I think there are two levels to this. The first level is, and the obvious level is what we do, what we say. Yeah, so we talk about agile, that communicates something of agile. Maybe we talk about the values or the principles, or we bring one out in a particular context. All those things we're familiar with. Of course, we're saying it, but how we say it and what we do make a big difference to whether we're communicating the mindset or not. So if we say, you must do 2-week sprints and you must have a retrospective, and your retrospective must look like this, then how does that communicate self-organizing teams? I think there's a fundamental tension here, actually, between the self-organization bit and the agile methodologies bit. And it's just something we've all, as coaches, we've all got to navigate that in some way. But there are ways in which we can be more demonstrating, doing agile, doing things in an agile way, communicating things in an agile way that help people just to catch the spirit of it. So here's one way of looking at it. Here's a way of looking at it that I quite like. So this is my, if someone says, what is this agile thing anyway? This is the diagram that I'll pull up. So basically, at the team level, at least, it's like a team is producing a product to satisfy the needs of some customers. Yeah, that's basically the structure that Agile imagines. It's the scenario. And the key thing is that there's a question, is this product satisfying the need? And, we're getting feedback into the team continuously in order to help the team stay on track. The other things I would say around this, by the way, are about, this makes sense to do it this way in short chunks if you're facing lots of change and uncertainty. But you all know that, so I don't need to say that bit. The bit that I think is quite interesting then is to say, okay, so the team has a customer and the team is providing value to that customer in the form of a product, or it could be another kind of value, yeah, as we generalize Agile away from software development. So if you're a coach, how about thinking about it this way? That as a coach, the team is your customer, or the teams are your customers. And perhaps they're customers for change. If they're not, you've got a pretty challenging job. So if you can find a way in which they are customers for change, which I would say is, they're people who want something to be different and they want to do something about it. In that case, then you can be providing value by facilitating that change, by helping them to create the change that they want to create. And you'll be checking out for feedback. Is this change actually satisfying that need? So, we didn't particularly say, but I specialize in coaching at the leadership level. So it might be that, I'm coaching a leadership team and I'm asking them, okay, so what change are your customers for? What change do you want to bring about? And they might say something, well, I want teams to be more autonomous. I'm fed up with having to tell them what to do at every stage. I want them to be able to think for themselves and respond to the customers. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go through a process then that helps you to create that kind of environment for your team, so that they can do that. So I see them as my customers, and I'm always trying to get into that relationship. And I mean, I do a whole other thing called generating change without generating resistance, which is about being agile in the way you implement Agile. So that's the bottom line here. And this is one way of thinking about that. Think about teams as your customers. Think about how to facilitate the change that way. I have a feeling I may have been talking a little bit too long. So let me see what's on the next slide. Oh yes. So what is the Agile mindset anyway? Yeah. And we're going to start getting interactive now. So I'm aware that we've got a lot of people here and only a few of you with cameras on. So what I'm sort of wondering is, we're about to go into breakout rooms, and I'm wondering how many people are actually here and able to participate in these breakouts. So the easiest way for me is if you put your camera on to say that you're able to participate. Otherwise, if you'd like to press the raise hand button to say, yes, I'm able to participate in a breakout. So we've got Paul is saying yes. Okay, so John, yeah, fantastic. We've got your webcam as well. So let's count. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh, it's all jumping all over the screen all the time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands up, and then if you've got a camera on, so I'm going to assume that you're able to participate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the screen's jumped again. So it's about 14 or 15 people. So that sounds like about 4 groups to me. We've easily got 5 groups. Okay, good. Thank you. That makes it clear what we're going to do. So let me share with you a mural board. So I'm going to put this in the chat. Where's the chat gone? They moved it. Here it is. Oh, I've just replied to Manuel. Hello, Manuel. Nice to see you. That wasn't meant to be a reply to your message, whatever it is. I'll take a look at your message when you're in the breakout. Now, there's the link for everybody. So if you'd all like to click, especially if you're participating, if you'd like to click on that link, it will take you to a mural board. Now, if you're familiar with Mural, and if you can put your name as you log in as well, that would be really great. So I get to see who's who. One of the things about Mural is you can come down to the bottom of your screen and you can click on my face and then follow me. And that would be a really cool thing to do, because I'm about to show you what we're about to do. So you'll see here, we've got 6 columns. And in these columns, we've got cards. Yeah, so these cards, they move around. And basically what we're going to do is each group has got 4 cards. And the 4 cards are, in the first column, it's the values from the manifesto. And then in the next 3 columns, we've got different principles from the manifesto. And in columns 5 and 6, we've got wildcards, cards that you can put whatever you want on. Because, hey, let's face it, it's, what is it, 21 years since the manifesto? So there may be other things that we think should be in there as values, principles, or whatever. And what we will do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We've got this Venn diagram here of people, delivery, and improvement. So we're going to be thinking together about these values and principles from the manifesto and others, and working at where they fit in this Venn diagram. Now,
sorry, Roy, I don't mean to interrupt there. Is it okay if I screen share so those who are not engaged in Euro can see what's going on?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, and I should stop sharing the.
That's okay. I will share the screen so everyone else can see what's going on.
Actually, I mean, is that a problem for everyone? Is anyone not able to access Mural?
Can everyone see?
If you need that, then just put in the chat. Yeah, please screen share. But otherwise, I think we should be all right. So if you by the way, as we had over 100 people signing up, we've got 2 columns here. We've got a set on the left and a set on the right. We've only got a small number of you wanting to participate in the exercise, so we don't need the right-hand side at all. We're all on the left here. So we've got these 3 columns, these 3 circles, and the idea is we'll take a value or a principle, each value and principle, and place it in this Venn diagram. Now, something that can go wrong is we can, it's possible to make a case to say that every one of these fits in the middle, that it's all about people, delivery, and improvement. Please don't do that, because it makes it very boring. So go for the category that you think it most fits in. So let's do one together. Would someone like to shout out one of the values or principles and where you think it best fits?
Welcome change.
Welcome change. So that's as in, is that as in value, value 4?
Yeah, value.
Oh no, principle
Group 2.
Group 2.
Group 2, item
Point
2.
2.
Yeah, got it. So welcoming changing requirements, even late in development, agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So where would you put that for me?
So that's got a cross between people and improvement. So that Venn diagram.
Okay, so it's clearly about people. So please don't start moving them yet, because we'll be in groups to do this. I'm just doing a demo just now. So the idea is, so we choose where that goes, and yeah, maybe it's about people, maybe it's about delivery, maybe it's about
improvement.
Make the decision and try and, if it's something that you've got a debate, you can easily end up just putting it in the middle. Try and say, no, this one is mostly about, and then put it in whichever category that goes in. Okay, does that make sense as what we're trying to do? We're trying to move these cards into the Venn diagram. And if you want, we've got 4 groups which are pre-prepared, and then group 5, I don't think we need a group 6. Group 5, you've got 4 cards you can create. Yeah, and it might be something else. It might be, say, diversity and inclusion. I think that's a fairly common one that's not explicitly in the manifesto. So you might want to take that or something else and then put that in And if you do diversity and inclusion, then yeah, of course it's about improvement, of course it's about delivery, but really, you know, it's more about people than the others. So put it in with people would be my recommendation. Yeah, even though you can make a case for putting it in those, it's mostly about people, so put it in people. Does that make sense as an exercise? We're trying to move those cards into those Venn diagrams. Give me a nod if I'm making sense. Great. Okay. So the way the groups will work, we've got breakout rooms. You've got the ability to choose the room yourself. So what I'd like to say, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. I think. And we've got about 15 people joining them. So if you find that there's more than 4, so if there's 5 or more of you in the group, then please have a, please, you know, one of you move into the group. So there's no more than 4 people in each group, because I think that makes it more productive. I'm just about to open the rooms. And we will take, let me see, let's take 8 minutes, let's say, to put the 4 cards into place. Yeah? So I'm going to open the rooms. You get to choose your room. If you can't, you know, in the way you choose the room, there's breakout rooms button at the bottom of the screen. If you don't see that, then give me a shout or give us a shout, and either Chantal or I will move you into the room of your choice.
Okay, just on a side note, has everyone got access to Aurora? Were they able to get in?
Yeah, I mean, Sheila was saying actually screen share would have been helpful as well. So apologies, Sheila.
Yeah, I'm not very good at screen share. I don't think I've done a great job of it today. Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I could have done the screen share. That would work. I just didn't think it was necessary with people seeing the board. But
well, maybe
inspect and adapt.
exactly. So it's all over to you now. I'll hand it over to you because I think you probably know it better than I'm a Miro user.
Okay. So we've got we've got, yeah, people are spreading out. We've got 5 in one group, which will be all right.
How do I join a room?
Say again?
How do I join a room? I see the list.
Do you see breakouts? Okay, so are you seeing the list, and are you seeing the various rooms, like value?
Yeah, I see other room 9 and room 10 and room 11.
Okay, so what I'd request, actually, you've only got 1 person in the values. So if you'd be willing to go into the values, that would be great. So you just go up a bit and then click join. Oh,
and click values?
Yeah, where it says values brackets left-hand group, just click join on that and off you go.
I don't seem to see it.
Joined. Where?
It's me.
It should be on the top right, within the title of it. So it should say values, and then there's a blue, it's blue text join button.
You have to mouse over the number on the right, and it will switch to the word join, and then you click it. It was not really obvious.
That's really good to know, Wen. Thanks, because as the host, I have an easier interface. Thank you.
Is it possible maybe to show with screen share? I can't find it. Maybe it's just me.
And it's for students. So
screen share.
So
if you don't mind. Just
no worries.
Unfortunately,
so basically, there's values here.
No. The trouble is, Chantal, that Zoom can't share Zoom. So you can't. Actually, let me try. I have enabled the Zoom shares Zoom option. So let me see if I am able to share it. Can you now see it, Judith?
No, I can see the slide.
But you can't see breakout rooms in progress. Then.
Do you want me to give it a go, Royce? If you stop and let's just see if I can. If I share screen 1 and I hit share, are you able to see?
Excellence.
Hello.
Hello. We're a bit confused as to what we're doing. Which column aren't we?
So I think what we need to do is just take our most important principles and position them. I think that's what he said.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going down group 4 effectively in this.
Where are we? Hold on.
The naming of the groups confused us a little bit.
Yes, so we were principal 2, is that right?
No, we are principal
3.
Yeah, I've just been paying attention. Sorry, I was like getting stuck in the chat window with the other people trying to figure out how to get onto Mural.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Okay, so shall we do... Oh, right, okay. So I think it's, if you go to the group, we've got group 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're group 3, aren't we? This middle one.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're the green sticky. So whoever's... Have we moved the green sticky so far?
No.
No,
I think this is where the confusion came. We had 3 groups called principals.
Yeah.
So I think we're the blue column.
Yes.
Group 4.
Okay,
So
let's
just for Andrea's benefit, I was just reading down through the list. So at the top, we've got technical excellence. We've got simplicity. I'm going to move that heading 1 out the way. We've got self-organizing teams, and we have reflect, tune, and adjust.
So is anybody able to share their screen while we navigate? Because it's recording, the benefit of people who are not here.
Just give me 1 second, and I'll try to figure out how to do such things.
For today's event, everyone's got the power to screen share.
I don't mind sharing mine. I've got it.
Okay, I'll fire away then, Paul. I've clicked something and it's all gone wrong.
There goes. Hopefully,
thank you, that's awesome.
Okay.
Right, now I've got to go and find my window.
Technically, we are group 3, but we'll take group 4, shall we? For principal?
Yes, yeah, let's just do it for simplicity, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, so do we want to work down this list or just pick one at random?
I'm happy to go to the group.
Okay, let's work down from the top then, shall we? Technical excellence. Where do we think that fits in to the categories of people, delivery, and improvement?
I'd put that on delivery or improvement.
I think that's a good idea. I would agree there.
I would agree, absolutely. So, do we in there, or do we think it's
just dump it in the middle there? Why not?
So let me just zoom in so you can all see. So simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential.
I think that is between people and delivery myself.
The rest of the group, Phil.
Which one? Which one are you talking about? Sorry, simplicity.
We're looking at simplicity, number 10, the one I'm moving around on the screen now.
I think simplicity helps people, doesn't it, as well?
So do we think it's people? Do we think it's, or do we think it's in here?
What are your thoughts, Andrea?
Yeah, I think like keeping things simple, you enable better usability, don't you? So the delivery, and yes, the delivery does come into it. It's actually building something with simplicity in mind.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted someone else's input as well.
Yes.
Are we happy to move on then to the next one?
I think so. So
self-organizing teams.
People would be my vote.
Yeah. Maybe it could overlap with improvement as well, because
I think they all overlap.
Yeah, somehow.
I think they all sit squarely in here. But, yeah. So we're saying people. Yeah.
What was it? Self-organizing teams. I think it's about delivery as well.
I do.
Because if you have a self-organizing team, you end up with a better product in many ways.
Yeah. So is it full in that part of the diagram, or is it more over here? Is it more people than delivery, or is it, you know, or is it just squarely in here? So you can move it around.
Okay, if I ask a question, so when you have a self-organizing team, is delivery faster or slower, and are people happier or not happy?
I myself would put it more into the people, because the people then have the control over that delivery, and they have the control over the work and actually what they work on.
That makes sense. Yeah, so it is people-focused delivery then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, here we go. So we're on now, reflect, tune and adjust.
I myself,
And adjust.
I'm thinking improvement on that one.
Yeah. I was thinking improvement was feeling a bit lonely as well.
I did too. That's what I thought. Because the thing is, they all go over all of them, so they'll all be in the middle later. So,
Popping this down here, are we?
Yeah, let's put it right down the bottom so nobody can see it.
But if you, as it improves, you're also focusing on improving your ways of working, right?
Indeed.
So there is a bit of delivery focus to that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, over here.
So I think improvement could be, let's slow down delivery, let's speed up delivery, let's keep delivery as it is, but refine who's doing that delivery. Are we sharing it around the team by being self-organized? There's that whole debate in there, isn't there? Of actually each of these basically fits into every category in some manner or another.
Exploring some of the other answers or some of the other cards that have been moved around.
I think reflect, adjust. I think you need the people to talk about feelings in a way as well, don't you? So the reflect, tune, and adjust. It's almost like you're competing against people's opinions as to what needs to change and what doesn't need to change, what improves, what doesn't improve. So I think you do need an element of people. So I'm always wondering if that falls right in the middle.
But that's boring. No, that's fine. Yeah, I think it is more around the improvement and the self plus team reflection, as well as the processes of delivering stuff, whatever that stuff may be. So I think myself, I would say it falls more into the improvement than any of the other categories. Okay, because you are reflecting upon yourselves.
I'm going to stop sharing now, guys.
Okie doke. Thank you very much, Paul, for sharing your screen.
Thanks, Paul. Great. If you think we're done, shall we head back to the other room?
Yep. See you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Bye, guys.
So, which group were you?
I think we're Principles 3, but we ended up using Group 4, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Principles 3 is Group 4.
Oh,
yeah.
then.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Okay, that's good feedback for me as well in terms of naming the groups. I should name the group Group 4 - Principles 3. So yeah, very good. You got the gold star. You got the you got everything on the board. Any reflections that you've got based on doing that exercise? Actually, everyone's coming back now. So let me ask everybody. Before we get, so Chris is going to give us an example of a retro which we think communicates the Agile values and the Agile mindset. Before we do that though, let's just take a couple of minutes just to reflect on what we've just done. Any thoughts, reflections, learnings, observations, complaints, suggestions, anything at all?
Need to update my Zoom.
Need to update Zoom? Yeah, okay.
Likewise.
Femi, you had your hand up.
So it's interesting. We joked about the fact that get 10 or more Agile practitioners in a room, and you will have differences in, interpretation and understanding. It's not absolute. There's no right or wrong. You know, it's context-based, it's perspective, it's interpretation, call it whatever you want. So that's one thing that came out from our interaction and our collaboration.
Yeah, different perspectives are all part of excellent teamwork, aren't they? So
yes.
Yeah, that's all part of it. Thank you, Femi.
Healthy debate, I think.
Rex and then Paul.
Sorry, I was going to say, following on from what Femi's saying, healthy debate.
Yes.
So you're not making a narrow view, taking somebody else, you're taking all inputs.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point of this was for us to think together about the manifesto and its values and principles. It was, you know, the product is a little bit of a, you know, it's almost a side issue. Paul.
I was just going to repeat pretty much what Femi said. It's quite funny, really. You stand up in a room and ask 10 Agile practitioners what is Agile, and 10
Absolutely, yeah. And they're probably all right. Which is the interesting thing. Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, right now, though, we're not demonstrating that, are we? We've got 3 of you saying exactly the same thing. So anyone got anything different to say? Okay, I think we might be ready to move on. Chris, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, let's give this a go. So we're doing a bit of a screen share, and I'm hoping to get this up and running quite quickly. So are you seeing a solution focused retro?
Yes.
We are. We're seeing. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, good. Fingers crossed it's all working. Right. So I'm just going to give a bit of a practical run through of an exercise I've done that actually Roy and I co-wrote an article about, but I've actually run this now with quite a lot of different teams and it seems to go well each time. So I thought I'd share it. So tackling a retro. So a standard retro with teams, and the idea is just to try and get a bit of improvement out of a team that was already pretty top notch, to be perfectly honest. By any definition, you would call them mature in terms of Agile. So the first thing that I asked them to do was, well, actually tell me, what does a perfect team look like? If I think the specific words I used were, if you were to describe a team that Agile textbooks were written about, the conference talks were given about, what would that look like? And this was back in the times pre-COVID. If you can remember back that far, we actually had post-it notes and pens and a whiteboard, which was a fantastic thing to stick lots of things onto. So that's where we started. And we used this to create a scale. So this was 10 out of 10. And the team had some fun with this. But I think the bit that they had a little bit more fun with was coming up with 0 out of 10. So it was, once we had a great establishment of this perfect team that you can imagine people in white lab coats were doing studies on, actually, what does 0 look like? And this was where they could have a lot more fun. They could rip everything apart. A team that didn't communicate, didn't talk to each other, didn't look at each other, all came up. So that gave us a bit of a baseline of our scale. Then the next question started posing is, well, actually, as a team, just considering in general, what are our strengths? And this was a bit of a broader question, but it often can quite help to frame this into terms of normal reference. And we usually are talking about sprints, we usually are talking about the last couple of weeks. And so actually picking up all of the examples of something that went well within the last 2 weeks, and then from that extracting, well, what are the resources? What are the things that we have as a team that help drive us forwards? Something fairly familiar in a lot of retrospectives, but just framed in a very slightly different way. So once you've got those two things, the instant question then becomes, okay, well, we know what 10 is, and we've got a good sense of what's pushing us up. So where do we feel that we are? And interestingly enough, the number itself doesn't make too much difference. It's actually what follows on from this. So whether they say that they're actually a 2 or whether they say they're a 9, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. But we just get an idea of where they believe they are and where the perfect team is. So the next question then is, well, actually, what would tell us that we were a point higher on the scale? What would reflect in behaviors? What would reflect in actions? What kind of things would we hear? Would we see? I mean, I'm going to mention another thing that the people are going to hate. What would our Jira board look like, for instance? What are our work in progress limits looking like? What would our processes be? What would our conversations look like? And what would they sound like? I think interactions are one of those things that teams can sometimes forget, and it's because it's a bit fluffy. It's less tangible. But having a conversation about what the conversation would look like was a really great thing, especially for this team in question. And then it's never a good retro unless you actually have next steps. So all very well and good to tie up what is the 1 point? Well, actually, since we're only going up that 1 point, we only need to worry a little bit ahead. It's what tiny steps could we use to start moving us up? And I think for the example in this team, I think we picked three just small steps that we could do, which is plenty for any team, especially a 2-week period. And I think one of the biggest things with this team is if I'd walked into the retro and just said, so team, how do you feel you're doing? They would just say, we're great, and we're not sure how to improve. They really had gotten to a proper plateau of not really understanding how it is they can change. But by going through this process, it sort of reframed their thinking, and it got them to consider things in a very, very different way. And we got some very interesting results. So as part of the I'm going to say clickbait, Roy, title of the article, we had some creative mathematics involved of 14 times more agile, which is quite an interesting way. So the way that we measured this is there was a lot of difficulty with the team actually getting direct impact to customers. So they actually ended up coming up with this idea of, well, if we can't speak to the customer themselves directly, let's go sort of a half step back and let's talk to the representatives. So the sales team in that company, it wasn't a huge place in this example. The sales team were actually really keen to talk. The team just never knew it, and the sales team never knew it either. It was just that case of without someone reaching out and without someone sort of taking that view of let's do some communication, they wouldn't have realized. So actually, what was the stats here? So we ended up with 7 times a week instead of once a fortnight with a communication regarding sort of customers, what the value is, and all of these sorts of things. And it was much more direct. We shifted the process entirely. So we actually ended up with 1 week sprints, which is a little bit unusual, but for this situation, it really worked. And what we ended up with is focusing on what you may call just a really small feature every single week. And that actually allowed for the sales team to take the thing that was done last week, show it to customers, and give feedback the following week. So we actually reduced down that feedback cycle and made it 1 week just on a rolling basis. Customers, well, they actually loved it. The sales team came to them every single week, and they were always knocking on the door of, we've got this new thing. Do you want to see it? And actually the customers became a lot more engaged, and that always has its uses. Boosted morale for devs. From a team that really couldn't see some of the impact that they were having, they were getting weekly reports from the sales team of this customer meeting went fantastically. This is what this customer is saying. And we just got the feedback in constantly and directly. It was really good. The sales team, well, they ended up liking us from being well, you're the weird devs that go and do that technical stuff over there. They still had no clue what an API was. I'm not going to go like too far with it, but they really did start to actually embrace and go, actually, they're not that weird. We can go and have a conversation and open up those lines of comms. So it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour there, but more interaction. So I'm going to ask, what mindset did that particular retrospective carry? So I'm going to pause sharing for 2 seconds while I try and escape all of this. So I'm going to direct you back to the Miro board. And I think if I hit resume share, no, it's going to take, it's going back to the PowerPoint, isn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, you'll have to unshare and then reshare the other thing.
Sure, we'll go for this. We've got Chrome.
Yay.
Fantastic. Right. So moving on a little bit further down, we've got this little improvement section here. I'd invite everyone that wants to join back into Miro if you could. Hopefully you've just reopened the tab and you should hopefully be able to find my face at the bottom of there. I think I look pretty much the same now as I did then. So you can find the share. If not, sharing Zoom's absolutely fine. So you'll notice these cards are vaguely familiar. This is on purpose. And what I'd like to do is I think I'm going to ask my glamorous assistant, Roy, who has control of these things, to open up 4 rooms again.
I've got people in groups of 3.
You've got people in groups of 3. Okay.
Is that too small? Do you want? No,
I think 3's fine. Yeah, 3 should be fine. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully you can have a good, robust conversation. I'd encourage in a minute for when these rooms open up, because I don't think they have yet, which is good. Join in a different room to the one you were in last time. Hopefully you'll be...
People will be put in automatically. Sorry.
Oh, they're automatic, right, okay. Right. In which case, ignore me. So, automatic random rooms. And just thinking of this solution-focused retro approach, which you should see a version of this. Oh, if I zoom in, you'll see here. Just consider which, I'm going to say if any, of the cards, the principles and the values that you feel that this managed to bring across. Don't worry too much about sort of selecting a column for your group. I'd say if someone from the group just drags one of them across, you can claim it. And what I'd like, if you could please, is to just put a few post-it notes underneath it, just have a conversation around it and think of how did the retrospective that I've just outlined, how did that embody those things? How did that bring that? Does that make sense to everyone?
Just for clarity, sorry, was that the outcomes from that retrospective or the actual having that retrospective? I
think I'm going to go with both, because that way more to talk about. Yes,
thank you.
So you're going to have a bit on process. That's certainly going to be there. But I think, I mean, a retrospective without actions and outcomes, where would it be? So let's go with both. Make it clear in your post-it notes.
I have one more question. I'm just looking at the mural board and there's 2 retros. Are we all just going to share the same space?
Yeah, if we all just use the left-hand side one.
The one on the left, okay.
Yeah, and each group just grab a post-it note. Try not to grab too many at once. Just grab a single one, have a bit of a debate over it, throw down some post-its in there, and then grab another one if there's still one there.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Any other questions before we get going?
Oh, thank you, Cosmina.
Cool. Roy, would you do the honours for me?
Honours are done. Rooms are opening.
I'm going to pass on joining a room.
Yeah, sure. And that's fine. There are still 3 people in that group.
Okay.
I'm happy to join, so we can just keep the recording going so we can see the conversations that happen.
Sure. Yeah, as you wish.
I think I'll stop sharing the screen now as well, because hopefully everyone should go into a group.
Actually, we've only got 2 people in room 4 and in room 5, actually. So if you fancy joining a room, Chantal, I'm not sure if you have the option. I might have to assign.
To room 5, I think. Or yeah, they seem quite quiet in room 5, so I'll go there.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Sheetal.
Hey, hi, Rafakat. Is that how I pronounce your name?
I'm not sure if the person is there right now because I tried saying hello a couple of times.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just us then.
Sure.
Yeah. So I am going to just quickly share my screen just for the benefit of the other people that haven't been able to make it. I'm not very good at using Mural, to be honest, so I'm going to try my best and then we can have a chat around it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what have I done? Okay. I keep doing everything wrong today. I'll just get the zoom right. And then we can start playing. Okay, are you on the board?
On the board, yes.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. All right. So, did I share the right screen? Can you see the mural?
Yes, I can see it.
Otherwise, you're going to see all the other mess behind it. Right. Okay. So, yeah, what do you think this retro is focusing on?
Just a second, it went into full screen mode. Okay, I'm coming out of that now. Okay, I think I need to check this out on my screen so that it's slightly larger than on the shared screen. Okay, so.
I can make it bigger. Is that better?
How about number 2, welcome change, in the yellow one?
Yeah, because that's the point is, you know, where are we now and what would move us forward, right? Should we move that one over?
I had lost you for a while, so I did not hear your reaction, but it's fine.
Okay, so I was saying yes, definitely. It's probably on the point of what tiny steps could start us moving up.
Right.
And I've just moved it over into the board. The one I was thinking of was self-organizing teams.
Number 11, correct. You're right.
Because I think people have open conversations about what change needs to happen rather than it being dictated, right? So what about
processes, individuals and interactions, the A one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move that over.
Were we supposed to put things under A, B, C, D? No, right? Or I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. Otherwise, I'll start organizing the whole board. I've got a bit of an OCD thing there. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one?
Yeah.
Technical excellence.
Definitely.
It sounds like everything's it's a retro for everything, really, isn't it?
I think it is supposed to be under categories because now I suddenly see two, the yellow one and the green one with working software. Might have been, I think we need, I'm not sure. Should they have been put under like ABCD or something?
I don't recall Chris saying anything along those lines.
The two remaining ones now say working software. So.
Measure working software. Working software is the primary measure of progress.
So ABCD seems like a category, and the examples are in 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I see.
Maybe, I'm not sure. Anyways, either ways, I think we have this thing. We could probably go through it once more, what the rest of the groups have done.
So there's let's go. Oh. Looks like the measuring, oh, that's coming. Measuring working software. Oh yeah, actually that's true. Where are you now? Where do you want to get to? Somebody, is that what you moved over for now?
Yeah. Could you possibly increase the size on your shared screen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's better. Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, so how do you want us to organize it? Or should we just...
So I'm seeing, oh. So you're in London, right?
I am, yes.
Okay, I'm based in Stuttgart in Germany.
Oh, wow, welcome. Oh, my friend lives in Stuttgart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I visit it quite frequently. He lives between Stuttgart and also Munich as well.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you? How did you find your way there? Have you always lived there?
Let's connect. I think it's not a story for 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, it'd be good to learn about that. Yeah, for sure. Are you on my LinkedIn already?
We haven't connected. I don't think I have ever managed to come to a meetup before. I have subscribed on it for a long time, but I don't think I was on any session till now, because I would have remembered all of you.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, no, definitely. That'd be good. I'd love to have a conversation around that. And yeah, I'm on my link, always looking at my LinkedIn.
Sure,
so
sure. Me too.
Sounds good. What's your surname for now?
That was good move. Good move.
I'm very glad to see that one over there, actually. I'd be a bit worried if no one felt that the reflect tuning and adjustment was in there. Is that everybody?
Yes.
We've got a couple more? No? Maybe? No? Okay, brilliant. In which case, I think we're going to open it out to just some more general questions in a minute, but is there any insights that anyone just sort of twigged, any sort of burning ideas that anyone wanted to throw out?
Actually, I'll tell you what, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take care, Kathleen, both now. I'm just going to put a Slido link in the chat so that if you've got questions, please go ahead and put your questions in that Slido link, and you can vote for up and down people's questions. That can all be happening in the background while Chris asks you.
Are there any things that you, any ideas, anything, any comments anyone wanted to make, anything sort of that was interesting for them?
I don't know how other groups fared, but we ended up putting just about everything into the main square there.
Yeah, I agree, because it's I like the style of retro. It's quite impressive.
What did you like about it?
Well, it had this thing about improvement. Even if the team thinks it's very well positioned already and very mature, it's still this way. They found new or they can find new things, because when they have this imagined super team, there's still some things you can always find something where you're not the perfect group or person or whatever. So it gives you even this chance and even this step. So it's really a great idea. I think I'll try that.
I will also say it actually works really well on the opposite. So when you've got a fresh team, new to Agile, not sort of really gelling well together, it helps give them a bit of a goal, sort of like a bit of a vision of, well, actually, where could they get to? So it's really handy as a tool. It's one that I wheel out fairly often now.
And the key question in that kind of situation, if everyone's a bit low on morale and thinks it's all crap, a key question is what, you ask them on the scale, whereabouts on the scale, and if they say a 2, then this is the absolute gold here. How come it's 2 and not 0? And take plenty of time exploring that, because it's never a 0. I love what Chris has done here and come up with this fantastic sort of like, what's the absolute opposite? So, that 0 is defined as this crazy, impossibly bad thing where everyone's killing each other, literally. And then, so how come it's not 0? You get, even if a team's not going well yet, you get some stuff there to build on, and that helps to build confidence.
And they really enjoy 0. Just as a
I have a question.
It's got this element of giving people that voice that they need in their team as well. So you're looking at it, and you're actually sort of having a say as to where are we going the right way. What can we do? So it's a part of decision making and all that autonomy in terms of decision making. So decentralizing things. And being really true and honest and transparent about where you are. And I like this. I really like it too.
I've run this quite a few times now, and no team ever comes up with the same 10. And that 10, that also shifts. So if you run this with a team, usually with quite a good gap apart, that 10 will shift their perception of where they are. And actually, I've had one team that said that they started off on a 7, and actually we ran this sort of 6 months later, and then they got to about 4. And it's not that they backslided; they got better. They got way better objectively, but they just expanded their view, which was great.
All right, okay.
Whose voice was that? That was amazing. who was saying all right, okay? Because it's like that should be on the radio.
I think
I'm going to change my job then, Roy.
Do both, Dave. You run a podcast. You get everyone tuning in.
I think Holger, I think you were about to say something.
No, I just identified the voice.
Go on, Roy.
Gwen has her hand up.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. Going back to your slide where you had the point, what would make this team better? I'm kind of curious everybody's feedback on how you navigate that potential minefield and still maintain an aura of psychological safety. Because if the answer is we need developers who are more skilled or have more in-depth knowledge in X, Y, or Z areas, some people could feel really inadequate or maybe slightly attacked. I mean, it could damage the psychological safety. I'm just wondering if people have ideas on how you would handle that, or if you would ask the question in a different way.
Just to kick this off on this particular example, I think one of the more powerful parts for assisting with psychological safety is the fact that you've built up those resources. So you're giving the team a strong foundation of you're not at zero. Actually, you've got all of these things going. And maybe, I think as a coach with them, I'm just stressing of the small changes. So we're not talking about really massive things that's going to fundamentally sort of, hopefully, highlight of, we just don't have these fundamental skills, we're way off of it. It's just like an increment of improvement, to use a common term. And that kind of helps with that, because you're not sort of trying to build them from nothing. I suppose that you're giving them that foundation to help with that. Hopefully it helps. So, starter, be interested what others' ideas are.
I'd like to come in on that as well, because I've got another of these workshops, which is on making feedback psychologically safe, which I think we ran here, didn't we, Chantal? So I think there's a recording of it if people are interested. And fantastic. And the key thing here is that by the time, I really want to underline everything Chris said is what I would have said as well. And I'm just adding another thing onto that, which is to say that, in that sort of situation, what would take us one step up the scale? In your example, it would be, we'd have more skills in the team to, I don't know what the example was, but name a specific skill that we'd have in the team when.
I didn't have one in mind, but let's say a new form of programming that we found we needed for some online application, maybe for commercial, ordering online something. Maybe people didn't have that depth of skill, or one person thought another person was inadequate, and during the feedback session, maybe they weren't as tactful about expressing that as they could have been.
Yeah, okay, so that's two points. So the first one is, say we discover that we need skills in developing Java 17.8 or whatever it is, then, if the team says, okay, that would take us 1 point up the scale, and the team generally agrees that we need skills in Java 17.8, then it's like, okay, how do we do that? Shall we develop it within ourselves, or do we want to look for someone else to join us? So that's sort of, that seems like, remember, psychological safety isn't about making everyone feel comfortable all the time. Psychological safety is about people being free to say what's important so the team can learn. So I think that would be an example of psychological safety if they say we need more skills in this area. And yeah, it can come from within the team, it can come from without. Now, your second point was someone might say it tactlessly. And that is such an important point with psychological safety. We're sort of drifting into that other workshop. So with psychological safety, it's like everyone has to be free to say it, and they need the skill to say it in a way that it doesn't needlessly upset people. So I think there's a piece there about training people to develop that skill of giving that feedback in a way that's constructive and helpful. So it would, instead of being you're a shit programmer, which obviously isn't true. It's what would give me, even more confidence that we were going to hit our goals and serve our customers better in future is if we had better skills in this area of our back-end databases, for example. And, you know, that then opens the conversation of, what, you don't think my skills are good enough? And it's like, well, you know, I think your skills are good in this, and this way. So there's appreciation there. And I think if you were better at some area, that would really, really help the team. So the feedback is there in a way that is as easy to hear as possible. But it's important that the feedback does get communicated. Maybe it needs to be done in a different way. Maybe it needs to be done one-to-one more than in the retro. If, you know, feedback is a skill, we need to learn it. And we need to help our team members learn it so that we've got genuine psychological safety and people are saying what's important and we are really developing. End of me delivering that other workshop. Where are we in terms of time?
Just to extend on that, Roy, I think the language that you've used, Chris, is we and our, and not specific to an individual.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a world of difference as well, when actually you're not focusing on individual behaviors and interactions. What you're doing is you're focusing on the work to be done over individuals and behaviors and actions. And I quite like the language you're using, because it's we, ours, us, rather than who.
Definitely about team leadership. Yeah.
Collective, yeah.
Yeah.
We have 3 questions on the Slido. Chris, first question I'll draw out. Do you think it also works with non-Scrum, non-Kanban teams?
Yes, definitely. Whilst I think it embodies Agile principles, as you've all reflected very nicely on the board, so thank you. I don't think it's anything very specific at all to Agile development or anything. Marketing team, as an example, you have a group of people that are all working together, and I think that's maybe the sort of one of the cruxes. Is it's good for a team. I think you could probably even stretch it to a self-development exercise if you were so inclined. But as a marketing team, as a finance team, as a football team, what does 10 look like? And 10 might be, I'm going to use football terms that I have no idea about. 10 might be the Premiership League, which I'm hoping is the top one. Or 10 might be that we win our local five-a-side. 10 is really variable. I really should have picked something martial arts, shouldn't I, Roy? Anyway, so we've got a scale, and 0 can be equally as fun. 0 is we make a kick towards the ball and miss every single time and land flat on our backs. And I think it still works as well, okay, we don't land flat on our backs, we can actually kick, and we have made a goal, so you're not a 0. Where are we? So I think there's legs and sort of breadth for this to be used in all kinds of contexts, with probably not even very much tweaking. The structure itself is quite flexible.
I think the only thing you need to tweak is, instead of what would be a perfect Agile team, just what would be a perfect team.
Yeah.
Serving our customers, sort of thing. Another question here. So there are 2 questions about a specific retro, Chris. One of the questions is, what was a 0? I just want to check if that's already been answered. So whoever's question that was, if you want to come on mic or type into chat, just like yes or no, has that question already been answered? We don't know. Okay, so do you want to?
Sorry, I was struggling to find the mute button.
Okay, John, go for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's as with all systems thinking, it depends. I said the same as attend does. So yeah, I was just intrigued as to what example of a team that scored themselves a 0 might be.
I'll give it. Do you want me to give a 30-second? I mean, so in the context of this, and I think Roy, you'll probably give a slightly different answer. But I think in the context of this, 0 becomes a little bit of fun in the retro, like in my example, because I think you need to have a little bit of fun to be able to get through this. And You can have them murdering each other. You can have them being in separate continents with no internet connection. You can have every single member of the team writing the application in a completely different language that doesn't communicate. And you can, as sort of the facilitator of the session, you can start framing things in a bit of a off-the-wall, wacky, crazy way, but it does help them realize that things could be worse.
Or you can get them to do that. You can invite them to do an anti-pattern exercise. You might even do that before you do the 10, depending on whether the group's more biased towards the negative or the positive, and just get them to say, what would the worst possible team look like? What would be happening, and really get that out. And that's your 0. It's the complete opposite. It needs to be absurd because you want them to rate themselves not a 0. If you just say 0 isn't very good, then they might put themselves at 0 and then you're stuck trying to persuade them.
Fabulous, thank you very much. So my current team would score a 1 because at least by doing on different continents, they can't murder each other. So
there you go.
And then we've got someone. So we've got some upvoting. We were actually going to. I'm sorry, we're not going to actually get through all these questions, because what we wanted to do with the last 5 minutes was to get you to reflect on what you've got from this session already, what you've got from this session that you're going to take away and maybe put into practice. And so if you'd like to come back to the mural board and right down the bottom, what did you get from this workshop that you'll put into practice in your work? If you'd like to just add post-its onto there, that would be cool. Use mural is the biggest posted on mural. Cool. Actually, I'm wondering if it would be too multitasky for me to just give like 1-word answers to these questions as we, or 1-sentence answers to these questions as we're typing. Which, if you'd like me to do that, give us a thumbs up.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up on that one.
Okay, cool. So could the invitation be modified? Yes, absolutely. This is something that you can use it for any issue. It's especially useful if a team or individual is stuck, then this process is really helpful for this. It's an example of a solutions focus process. And SF actually comes from therapy. It's very, very broadly applicable. Actually, it's not just me. Can we use a value proposition canvas to learn more about team needs? I don't see why not, but I suspect that it might be better to have a more tailored canvas. Be my 1-sentence answer to that one. Because customer-focused coaching, where teams are our customers, what other questions would help deliver against value? Gosh. Oh, let's have a whole other workshop on that. We've got millions. It depends on. So first question would be, who are we serving? That's not always obvious. What are their needs? What are they stuck with? What are their pressing problems? I think in terms of a customer-focused coaching, I'm thinking here of the team as the customer. So I would be asking the team, what are your frustrations with your current ways of working? How would you like things to be better? And then helping people to move in the direction they want to move. So much easier than getting them to move in the direction they don't want to move, because they'll just push back.
So that was my question. That was me asking those questions.
Okay. Oh, you're the bad questioner.
I am, sorry. Bad me. But it was more like what I'm trying to get at, and it's something that I do actually struggle with when I'm talking to teams in particular over the leadership. I just find that what tends to happen is that there's a little air of fear in terms of piping up and really expressing the truths about the troubles that they're experiencing. And that's why I was asking that in terms of, you know, what other questions could you ask that would actually get them to open up a bit? I think that's where I'm probably going to with this.
Yeah, so psychological safety, it builds in small steps. And that's exactly, you know, that is textbook definition psychological safety you're talking about. People willing to talk about what's actually going on. So, you know, it actually, you know, one thing, it actually needs to be safe. So one client I was working with, 3 people had got dismissed for saying what they thought.
Yeah,
so while the manager who made that decision is in place, you're never going to have psychological safety. Forget it. Get another contract. Yeah. But if it is actually safe to say what you think, then it's a gradual process of that emerging. So, you know, this way of phrasing it, so you talk about what's going well, can help, and then, you know, the small steps to improve. So people don't have to admit what went wrong. People talk about how they would like to see things improving. That's a much more empowering conversation to have. That's my as close as possible to one sentence answer. We said we were going to finish now. Would anyone? I mean, lovely to see all those post-its on the board there. Would anyone like to? What I'd love to hear actually is just 3 people to say, you know, so it's not just post-its on a board. I'd love 3 people to say, this is what I'm taking away to do. Who'd like to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this format away and apply it next week.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, actually, well, if we're talking in that way, let me, because, you know, we've given you a very, very, very quick intro. Very much highly recommend this book. It's called The Solutions Focus. It's quite an old book now, actually. It in some ways it's a bit out of date, but the principles are phenomenal, and it's the most readable book. And honestly, there is only one book that's changed my life, and this is it. Yeah, and this is the book that got me from being a developer into being a people person. I wanted to be a people person, but this is what helped me to make that transition, because if you problem solve in the way that you problem solve with tech, with people, it's a long story, but it's not the right answer. Whereas this is the way to problem solve with teams and people. Paul Z. Jackson, I'll put it in the chat. Paul Z. Jackson and Mark McCurgo. So sorry, that was 1. I was asking for 3. So who else? Something you're taking away to put into practice?
I think from my point of view, it's taking those little steps forwards towards improvement. Yes. You know, what's gone is gone, yes. And the past is the past. I do have a question though, because I've been struggling with my team to not jump to solutions and to try and understand the problem before driving solutions.
Yes. So, and solutions focus is the wrong name for this discipline.
Good.
What you mean by understand the problem, I would say, yes, understand what's wanted.
Yes.
Which is the more positive frame of understand the problem. But yes, it's not about jumping to solutions. In fact, if you Google, I have a YouTube talk, which is solutions focus isn't about focusing on solutions. And I apologize on behalf of the, you know, that talk explains how we've ended up in this situation, and it's a pain, but thank you for bringing up that point. It's really, really apposite.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Third example. Something you're taking away to put into practice. So we've got the whole caboodle, we've got small steps and doing change in an agile way in small steps. What other thing are you taking away? There's a whole bunch on the board, so we know you're thinking it. Just be ready to come forward and say it. Go on, Holger. Go for it.
I think the circles with the exercise for the discussion that we had in the beginning, I might try to reinforce the values and thinking about it, and that's also a good idea.
Nice, cool. Thank you, Holger. Okay, fantastic. So that's all from me. Chris, do you want to say a final word?
Just thank you very much for everyone for joining in. Hopefully that'll be really valuable and helpful. If you need anything, I think you've got both of our contact details that was linked up at some point. So get in touch, reach out and say hi.
Cool.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Roy. That was awesome as always. Yeah, really interesting content. I didn't put my hand up because I was letting everyone else do the hand putting up bit, but I will certainly be taking this away and certainly using it. So if anyone wants me to share a link, LinkedIn link to Roy, Marriott and Chris Summit, let me know and I will be happy to share that detail with you. Roy, there was a question earlier about sharing the slides. If possible, if you could send me a link and then I will put it into the meetup group. Yeah, but no, thank you everyone for coming along and supporting us today. I've really enjoyed hosting you today, and fingers crossed Giles will be back next week. We do have Chris Stone joining us next week, and he will be talking about retrospectives as well. So please, please, please join us on that one as well. Fun event, Roy. Fun event, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing this this nugget with us. And yeah, hopefully we'll see the rest of you soon. And I'm sure Roy, you'll be back, and I'm sure Chris, you'll be back too.
Take care. Really lovely to meet you all. Thank you for joining in and making it so much fun. I've certainly enjoyed it. And hey, let's face it, if we're doing something in the evening, enjoying it is the main criteria, isn't it?
It was definitely really good fun. I enjoyed it, and I'm sure everyone else did as well. Thank you.
Take care then.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Toby. And thank you, Aid. That voice.
Thank you.